All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another awesome episode of Keeping It Rio. I have an amazing guest today that we're going to really have a great time talking with. I'm looking forward to this. So, let me hit our intro real quick, and we'll be back here in 35 seconds with Conversation of the Day. All right, everybody, welcome to Keeping It Rio. I've got an amazing guest today, my great friend Brandon out of St. Louis. Brandon, how are you doing today?
Better than I deserve, man. Better than I deserve. I'm doing great.
Now, you deserve every bit of it. Trust me. You're a great guy, and I'm looking forward to the next 45 minutes to an hour, however long this goes, but it's going to be awesome. So, welcome to Keeping It Rio. I've been looking forward to talking to you for quite some time. So, this is going to be pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Likewise, man. Me too.
Yeah. So, hey, you and I, we met through our mutual colleague, Mike Code, who is a mentor to the stars. Obviously, he's got both of us in the stable. So, I've been able to do a little bit of work with you outside, of that, and it's been really enjoyable. I've paid a lot of attention to what you're doing with your company. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Brandon J Roofing? You're based over in St. Louis, right? Suburbs.
Yeah, out in the burbs. So we're actually in St. Charles, which is just right outside of St. Louis. It's all connecting. So, man, I've been in construction my whole entire life. I grew up swinging a hammer. Went into the union, did all that when I was a kid, and subcontracted for years myself. Then got in a little bit of trouble, so we had to get removed from that for a little while. And I came back, and whenever I started, it was Brandon J. First was Brandon J Construction, then I moved to Brandon J Roofing. I was a journeyman carpenter when I was 22. So it was like I could build a house from the ground up. And at the beginning, we were doing everything just to get the name out there, right? I was doing kitchens, baths, decks, basements, whatever. Pure freaking chaos. Pure freaking chaos. Sorry if I cuss on it.
Hey, dude, fuck it. We cuss a lot.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Yep.
But yeah, it was pure fucking chaos, and as I kept growing, it was me running like a group of five, out in the field wearing my pouches all day, and then I'll do all the back end work at night. And I kept narrowing the scope. It's like what they say, a jack of all trades, a master at none, and I truly believe that. And so I kept narrowing that scope to primarily exterior only, and roofing is definitely our bread and butter. But through the process, so we're on year four right now, going on 5, and it's just been constantly trying to align with people that have those same core values, same core ethics, and can share that same vision, man. It's like now I feel like I could walk through Walmart and come out of there with 5 guys that could sell roofs, or gals, but it's not about that for me, right? It's like, well, where are your core values? Where are your core ethics? What's going on in the rest of your life? Because so much of that stuff's going to bleed over, and selling roofs can be taught. It's not, everything else is the really needle in the haystack that we're looking for.
Yeah, I agree with you on that 100%. I tell people that I hire for the intangibles because honestly, I mean, we're roofers. We've been doing this a long time. I'm 24 years in the industry. I can say with confidence, you can teach anybody to do this as long as they're willing to learn. So finding those right people is tough. And that's been something I've struggled with in my own company over the years is, you get some good people and you do everything you can to keep them. You build that culture that's, ours is definitely a personal development mentality in our business. I'm partnered up with several, other companies, and we are very fortunate that our organization looks at the bigger picture and realizes that roofing is roofing. It's hard to separate a shingle from a shingle because they're the exact same thing. And the only thing that really separates us is who we are. And I think that that's awesome. That's what I really admire about you is I see you're a very disciplined guy. You're up taking pictures of the gym and you're doing your stuff and you're just, always on your routine and always, staying very disciplined to that. I think that's probably a huge, huge, huge reason why you're as successful as you are this early on. But it hasn't been easy. I'm sure it's been hard for me too here at Rio. I'm 3 years into it and we bought the company. It was dead. So that's kind of a unique story in itself. But, with everybody starting out, there's going to be pitfalls. There's going to be things, life in general is not easy. Like you said, there's a story that, you get to redeem yourself in life. And that's what I love about just everything, not just our industry, but life in general, is that you can change who you are today and you can be a totally different person tomorrow. So with you've been very devout, very dedicated to your spirituality, and I know that's been a very important thing. You're very open with that when you do your post online and stuff, and I appreciate and respect that. Tell me a little bit about where that came from for you and how you got that solid foundation. And this is a tough world. There's always things that make you want to do what you might not know to be the right thing, but having that core foundation is huge. So tell us a little bit about how you got that and how you maintain on a daily basis to make sure you're doing what's right.
Yeah. Well, I definitely didn't get it from doing the right thing. Man, I made a lot of bad decisions in life, and went to prison, did all that. I was a fucked up dude. And, I got to a point in life where, like, I guess, it'd be the bottom. And that day was, man, I sat on this park bench all day. And I sat on this park bench all day, and I'd never been more broken in my life. And that was just sat there crying, like a little bitch. But I just never been more broken. And I put myself in some very deep, dark holes, And in that, though, that was like the best day of my life. Because, like, that was the day I became willing. That was like the day I became willing to do whatever the fuck it takes, never to go back there again. And for me, like, just on my day to day, I know, like, my life today, like, I'm not responsible for all this shit. Yeah, I show up and suit up and show up every single day. And I try to always be the hardest worker in the room. But, like, for the doors to open, man, like, I got to have God, me personally. And I'm a big believer in having that foundation, because in this industry, or anything like this industry, I believe, where we're dealing with this many people, whether it be employees, customers, whatever, there's so many, we get so many things thrown at us that a lot of times don't go the way we want them to. And it's like, okay, how do I have all these things happen and still have good energy and still have a great day, still talk to that next customer, that next employee with good energy, and give a respectful and responsible response, and go home and treat my wife the way I need to treat her, and, with the same love? How do I do all that? And for me, it's having that foundation. I envision, like, I'm putting that armor on every fucking day. And by the time I get to work every day, I've set the foundation spiritually, mentally, physically. And then as I'm rolling into the office and starts, whatever's going to get poured down on me, great, bad, whatever, like, I'm ready for it. And I'm going to do my best to have a great day. And it's not contingent on what happens throughout the day. It's not contingent on if a customer's rude to me, and I think it's especially important. Like, I saw this with all, like, my sales guys and gals, especially if we're out knocking doors, doing whatever. It's like, okay, how do I get told no, 4 or 5 times, whatever it is, and still show up at that next one, with that same energy, and I just believe a big part of that is just having that foundation.
Man, that couldn't be more true. There are days when you don't want to get out of bed. And I talk to a lot of different business owners all over the country on a daily basis. This is what I love about this deal is I get to have these conversations with people. And I'll tell you, everybody gets that. We're in ruts. We're, you get to where you wonder if this is even worth it. And, my goodness, I could make more money as a sales rep sometimes, I believe, than I can as the owner of the business. But that's the sacrifice that we make because I believe that there's a greater purpose for all of this. I've always believed that the path has been predetermined, whether we know it or not. And to be honest with you, the day that this opportunity for me in San Antonio was presented, I had never even thought of San Antonio, Texas. I had never considered any of the stuff that happened. But I was sitting at dinner one night and I got the opportunity. Rio Blanco Roofing was one of Mike Code's original clients, believe it or not. You and I have a great connection through Mike. And Mike, there were some issues. The guy that owned the company was a great guy. He had a great reputation, did good work, but he just was not financially able to keep the thing going. We understand this is it's a fluid business, man, and there's millions of dollars involved. So it's easy to lose track.
Sure.
But what happened was Mike had a sense of emptiness, I guess you'd say, because of the fact that it failed. And anybody that's a consultant that goes out and teaches people how to do the right thing does not want to have something that's, kind of a failure, so to speak, even though it's not his fault. So I was very blessed that somehow I was chosen as the one for this opportunity, and everything just kind of fell into play, and it's worked out wonderfully. But I've always believed that it was predetermined for me, and I just needed to make those decisions. And my gosh, man, it's been crazy. It's been the greatest 3 years of my life. It's also been, what the hell have I done here? Why am I doing this? So
Yeah.
I get it. And for me, it's my morning routine that gets my day going because, like you just said, I'm a very big believer in small wins throughout the course of the day. And I also have come to the realization that there are certain things that you cannot control or dictate, but the things that you can, if you do what you're supposed to do, you can hold your head up high knowing you've done well. So you're an early kind of riser like me. I think most people that are somewhat crazy but also successful get up before everybody else, right? Everyone else is in bed. I'm out running through the neighborhood trying to do my deal. What's a normal morning look like for you as far as getting started before you even leave the house? You've done a lot of prep, I'm sure. What's a typical morning look like for Brandon?
Yeah, great question. So my typical morning, I'm up sometime between like 4:15 and 4:45. I grab my coffee and I do my best not to grab my phone for at least the first half hour. And the first thing I'm going to do is do some type of read, usually a spiritual, motivational type book. What I try to do, I don't want to grab that phone because I don't want to see emails. I don't want to see texts that came through my sales guy the night before, and start having that pollute my mind right away. I want to grab something that I know is good, and that I know is adding to that foundation for my day and pump some good positive stuff into my head. So it'll be spiritual, and I do a quick read, and then, man, I hit my knees every morning and I ask God to, give me the strength to handle whatever comes at me. Give me the strength to look at everything that comes at me and let me get a W out of every situation, whether it goes my way or not. And from there, I'm going to immediately put my earbuds in as I'm getting ready. And then I'm putting on something else. It's either going to be, motivational some way, spiritually, business, something. Right now I'm listening to a lot of Ryan Stewman stuff, and he's got some really good stuff. Big props out to him, man. He just had a phenomenal weekend with him that he put on. And then I'm hitting the gym. Then I'm usually out the door by about 5:45, 5:50, and I'm hitting the gym. And from there, it's to the office, But it doesn't matter if I sleep in. I have to have that time in the morning to prep, because I get people that tell me all the time, Brandon, I just don't wake up like you ready to take on the fucking world. And I just kind of laugh, because it's like, well, I don't wake up like that either. Not most mornings, but I have the rituals and routine that I work myself up to that state, and that makes all the difference in the world. because if I don't do those things, say if I slept until 7, like, and I'm going to just go straight into work, I'm not going to be near as effective. I'm going to feel like I'm off, you know. At that point, I feel like I can handle whatever comes at me. I have time to prime and prep for the day, you know, so I can be the guy I need to be for, you know, all my sales team, my office team, my customers, everybody.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, I feel the exact same way about it. And we have a very similar routine. I get up early because, to be honest, I am distracted throughout the course of my day. I have got like ADD and any other kind of thing you could think of where, a nice shiny object over here will throw me
Mhm.
completely off. So I've scheduled it to where my production is mostly done before I see anybody in the morning. Like I get all my follow ups done, my emails, my proposals, everything is knocked out before 8 a.m. because once 8 hits, you never know what's going to happen, right? So I
Right.
think it's very important to have that discipline. I like to lay my schedule out the day before so that I can kind of game plan and be prepared for it. But it's not lost on me. The preparation, everybody says, man, like you, I don't wake up the same way you do. You're ready to take on the world. Not really, I'll be honest. I mean, sometimes I don't wanna even leave my house, but if you stay in the house all day, nothing's gonna happen for you. So, getting
Right.
up, making it happen, even on days that you don't feel like it, it's a tremendous thing, and I think a lot of the stuff that we put into our minds, like you just said, Ryan Stewman, I'm a huge fan. I've read all of Ryan Stewman's books, his podcasts and all that stuff are awesome. It's kind of a I guess Ryan Stewman, I would say, is like the next generation of Grant Cardone, maybe a little more
Mhm.
edgy.
Yeah.
But I love that. And I saw you guys, there was a bunch of people at the event there. I was actually at an event in Miami last week for Lee Haight. He had the Blue
Mhm.
Collar American Dream Conference, and Ed Milet was the speaker there. I know you guys had Ed at Ryan's thing as well. Tell us a little bit about that event. That was one that I looked at, and if it were a little bit further from the one that I just came from, I probably would have been able to make it. But I wasn't able this time. Tell us a little bit about what your takeaways were from that event, because that was pretty cool from what I could see.
Well, phenomenal event, but though I'm just going to share a little bit about the week leading up to that event, right? I've been planning on this weekend for months, right? Just super excited. Obviously spent a lot of money on it, non-refundable money. And it's funny because like I feel like when we really start trying to push forward and bust through new ceilings, like the universe is gonna start like Ryan calls it the law of average, and truly believe it. Universe is gonna start trying to throw stuff at us. You know, it's like, do you really want this motherfucker? You know, and so one of the closest people to me in my life, man, passed away, and his funeral. I was supposed to take off on Thursday. His funeral, his wake was on Thursday. His funeral was on Friday. And when I was first told that, I was like, "Fuck!" Like, man, I'm not going to be able to go. You know, and I was because I spoke at the funeral. I'm a pallbearer, everything else, and I was like, "No, fuck that. I'm leaving straight from the funeral and just changing my flight." Go to the airport. Sat on the runway for like 5 or 6 hours. You know, then they let us off the plane, and at that point, I'm like, I'm just gonna go home. You know, like I was just exhausted, and so anyway, I got back on the plane, go down there. They canceled my hotel reservation because I was late. Embassy did. So my punk ass is walking around Dallas at like 1:30 in the morning with my luggage, like in one of the busiest cities in the United States. Everywhere's sold out. And but I found a really nice couple that did some things to get me in a room. So that were working at the Hyatt. But once I got in that seat, man, everything was worth it. It was I constantly, no one's giving me a roadmap to this shit, you know. Um, I mean, I was in prison 5 years ago, you know, and to everything that's happened between now and that. And so one thing I've really focused on is constantly humbling myself and finding the people who have the things that I want, right? And I don't mean just the shit that you can touch. Like, I mean the character, everything, and asking them questions, you know, and trying to surround myself. I make it one of the things I say all the time is I surround myself with people who have the things that I want or want the things that I have, and we figure out how to get this shit together, you know, and we push each other every day. but just getting down there, man, I've never been anywhere like the lineup that he had down there was absolutely insane. And it was crazy because, like, you know, I just got introduced to Ryan a few months ago when somebody recommended I do that closer competition. And, you know, I started doing a little investigating. I was like, okay, cool. It looks like a good community. I'm going to join it. And my thoughts, like, you just never know. There's so many people out there that, you know, are consultant coaches, this, that, and whatever. And you just really, it's hard to get a good read on people, you know. And within the first, I don't know, hour or two, it was like I was touched because I knew like how much when Ryan like came out and was like, man, I'm not putting this on. This isn't for me. This isn't for me to make money. Like, this is like, I'm doing this for all of you. And it was, I know that. I know that to be a fact. And I felt that, you know, because I mean, he definitely didn't make money off that. So, but the impact that it had on me, you know, I've never been around so many high level people in my life. And that it is possible, you know, and not to think small, not to dream small. All that shit that we want, it is possible, you know, if we're just willing to do the work, you know, because if we don't do it, somebody else is. But E.T., Eric Thomas, that dude, I've been listening to him for years. And within 30 seconds of that guy being on stage, I knew exactly why he was the number one speaker in the world. Like, the energy that dude brings is insane, man. Absolutely insane. But there were several, man, Kurt Lennington. That I was impressed by that dude. Solid dude. And there was just so many just top-notch people there. I was in awe the whole time. I was like, man, there's no way I'm going to want to go sit till 10 o'clock for David Goggins, you know, at night when I've been in this chair. I'm on 2 hours of sleep and I've been in this chair since 9 o'clock in the morning. But it just kept me going, man. It was phenomenal. It was a super valuable weekend. And I'm extremely happy I got to go.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's just leveling up, being around people that think differently and do differently. And you can't help but join that crowd, right? I mean, I've been very blessed. The last 3 years of my life have been complete life changers. I mean, I've known a lot of people in our industry for years, and I've been around and I've made a lot of friends, but making the change and going from being in sales with a roofing company to the ownership aspect and the partnerships that I've got with the people now. I was in Oklahoma City with Mike Code on Friday doing training for a roofing company over there, you know? So it's pretty amazing how when you put yourself in those positions and you find the opportunities and you actually, you know, do the work and apply yourself, some of the stuff that you can actually accomplish is insane, right? I mean, it's the life. I love life because of that. You can literally decide what you're wanting to do and what you're wanting to be, and you can make it happen. And you know, like I said, your story is amazing. Just 5 years ago, a completely different world to what you have now. And you know, let's go back and talk about your business. You started the company. You started off doing everything, and I know how that is. It'll drive you crazy because you just can't do everything. You know, everybody wants to have every piece of the pie, and you know, when you're looking at things, you have to really start to understand. Okay, this isn't worth the time I'm investing, or I'm not making what I need to go where I'm going. You start paring it down. You start, you know, doing. I'm going from roofing and restoration to roofing and solar. And, you know, restoration, I guess, is such a vague term that nobody really knows what that means. Um, you know, I think of it as I can paint some stains on some sheetrock if you want. And I really don't want to get too much beyond that because it's
Right.
just not my thing. But you start simplifying it and you start to realize, okay, this is where things really start to grow. The more stuff you get rid of and you focus on your bread and butter, like you say, that it's going to take off. So tell us a little bit about the beginning of your company. You know, I see you're in a badass office right now. I know that that's a recent addition to you. And people don't start off in nice executive suites with cool stuff in the background and you know, motivational speeches. I think most roofing companies start in your garage or they start in your kitchen. You know, how did Brandon J Roofing start for you, and what's the development look like for you from day one to now, where you're you're known, you're recognized, people recognize your brand, you're a trusted person in your industry and in your market. That's not something that you can do really quickly, but you kind of did. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, man, at the very beginning, like I said, we were doing everything, and which was great. Like, I mean, it was cool because it gave me the footing that I needed. So I remember one of the what the first big thing that put me on, and this is, well, one door closes, another door opens. So, man, I was so hung up on this customer, and I was so hung up on this customer. It was this lady, and she was. We were gonna do her deck, her siding, everything. Like, this was like a first like big job. At this time, I'm doing like $1,000, $3,000, $4,000 jobs. Whatever it is. At that point, it's come paint a wall, whatever.
Yeah, let me roof your doghouse. I'm with you.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I'd been out there multiple times, right? And she just was. I was trying to push it too much, and she definitely didn't value my time. And so I finally was just like, you know what, I'm just done with it. And I was kind of bummed out about it, right? The next day, somebody had called or about a window, right? And wanted me to come look at reglazing a window. It's like, I don't do this shit, but I'll go, whatever. So I go to these apartment complexes, and I'm meeting this guy, and I was like, yeah, man, I really don't do that. I'll change the whole window out. He's like, well, yeah, we're going to wait till I get sided to do that. I was like, oh, really? Who do you have doing the siding? Well, I don't know. If you could do it for this, you can do it. You can do it. And I ran the numbers. I was like, oh, perfect. Well, it was like 10 buildings, and the guy I was meeting with happened to be the CEO of a family, like the wealthiest family in our community, and they own every other commercial property, and it's like, but if I would have been caught up doing, wasting time with that lady, I would have missed that opportunity, so just don't get hung up on those things, go to people that value your time. But at that point in time, like, I had a guy that could help me when I needed it. I really didn't have any equipment. I maybe had a step ladder and some other things. So I had to go buy all this stuff and scaffolding and everything like that. And went and hired a couple guys and slammed out these apartment buildings. And I banked every dollar. We're completely self-funded. And I just banked every dollar. And at that point in time, like, so that first year, and I believe a lot of people call it getting stuck at this, but I think some people want to be there, like, where they're pretty much just self-employed or a business operator, where they're just running a crew. They don't want all the extra craziness. They don't want sales guys. They don't want, an office. They just want to run a crew and do their own jobs. And that's cool if that's your thing. It just wasn't mine. And so, after that first year, like, okay, this is going to be the leap here, where I put down the tool pouches. And the last job I did was it was a deck. It was like a $60,000 deck, big, nice deck. And I was like, this is the last one. I'm not putting on these tool pouches ever again. I got to start generating sales because, I subbed for a long time myself, and I know what it takes to hold on to good subs. You got to keep them busy. And so that's what I did. Like, I knew with the roofing, I went and talked to any company around here that would let me in. Like, I think, we got 700 plus companies in this area, roofing companies. And I mean, 99% of those are operating out of their mom's basement or whatever. But there's some really good ones out there for sure. And I went and tried to, have lunch with those guys. Like, what will you tell me? Like, and I'm asking all those uncomfortable questions. What are your profit margins? What do you bet on? Yeah, everything. And some of them, most of them wouldn't tell me that type of stuff, but I'm asking. And how you do this, how you do that. I just soaked up as much knowledge as I could, man. And I started just banging doors. I brought another guy on to knock doors with me and do sales with me, and got somebody in the office. And so that first year it was, and then I added another person on. And so the first couple of years, I would keep like 3, 4, maybe 5 sales guys. And I would always lead the pack in sales. Like, I was like, I'm going to sell sun up to sundown, and, I'm going to lead by example. And like, I thought that was, I don't know, I thought I was doing the right thing in that. And I was for the time. because at that time it was, I'm going to do this. And in my mind, like, I'm going to do this for like 4, 5, 6 years and make as much money as I can and then get out and do whatever. Right. And at some point over the next couple of years after that, like, it transitioned, like, man, this can be like something that's generational. This can really be a staple in this community. And this can be a foundation that helps a lot of people, both people that work here and people in the community. And as a matter of fact, so whenever I started working with Mike Coday, like, I had sold 2 million plus for the last 3 years. And whenever I started working with Mike, one of the first things he told me to do, he's like, I want you to stop selling. I'm like, what? I don't want to stop selling. I like selling, He's like, because I was at a ceiling. I felt like I was at a ceiling. I was at that like $5 million ceiling. And I believe they're ceiling it at $1 million, or $3 million, or $5 million. And I was at that ceiling. And he's like, man, well, what do you want? If you want to stay here, keep doing what you're doing. If you want to go through to the next level, this is what it's going to take. And so that's what I did, and I started looking at my sales guys as my customers, and really devoting as much time to them as I possibly could, making sure I meet with everybody once a week, one-on-one, doing all that stuff. And really that's what I focus on today, is building the absolute best foundation I can for these guys and gals who work here, that they can come and achieve their goals, and they have a healthy culture to do that in. Because that's, it's the roofing industry. Like I said, there's 700 plus companies around here. And there's nobody putting on more roofs in our area than we are. And when I say area, I mean county, because there's, across the bridge in different counties there are. But like, we're definitely dominating our area. And I believe like from day one, it's like, in my mind, it's just been like, do the right thing, do what you say, and do good work, and you'll always have work. Because there's so many people that don't do that. I think a lot of people try to get into this industry and thinking that it's going to be easy, or thinking there's corners to be cut or whatever it is. And whenever I subcontracted for a long time, and I worked for a lot of successful guys. They were successful for these. They would shoot. I watched them shoot up, and they wouldn't be there long. They would all end up failing because they all cut corners somewhere. Whether it be not paying their taxes, material, labor, whatever it was. So I learned a lot of what not to do. And so it's just simple. Like for me, like, just do the right thing and outwork everybody. And that's what I've done, and so, like I said, now I really just focus on having the best foundation I can for everybody. I believe we have the best comp structure in the area for our sales guys with everything that we offer. And I like to think that we offer a better version of this industry, and it's like, well, we can only use such a good shingle that a lot of other people use. We can only install it so right. And I believe the way that we offer a better version of this industry is offering a better version of ourselves, offering our customers, our community, the best version of ourselves we possibly can. And I believe that's why we've had the success, because I have an amazing team around me, man. And I just try to help build them up. And like, I love seeing them win. That's like my greatest fulfillment in all this.
I totally am with you on that. And it's crazy. I'm listening to your story, and we had the exact same story, Brandon. Okay. Mike Coday came to me 3 years ago when I was sitting in an empty building on Sandow Road, right next to the airport runway in San Antonio. Didn't have anybody in my company at all. It was just me. And I'm interviewing, trying to find people, which I got a couple people eventually. But when we started, that was the first thing Mike told me is, I do not want you to sell anymore. And at first, I'm one of those people. I'm always going to agree, because I understand that people that are smarter than me have already been through the stuff. They know things that I don't know. I'm not going to lie and say that I didn't question it in my own mind, because I was a pretty damn good sales rep. I've been doing that for years and I've been successful. But once that transition actually happened and I accepted that for what it was, I completely let go of it. And that's when all the real magic happens, right? That's when the growth and the development starts to go. And you realize, like you said, I was spending a lot of time on things that were only going to get us to a certain point. And the question that Mike asks, that I think is brilliant, is, what's your best year you've ever done in sales? And someone will tell you 2 million or whatever. Okay, what are you trying to do with your company? Well, I want it to be a $10 million company.
Right.
Explain that to me. If you've never done more than two, how are you going to get to 10 without doing something different or without bringing people in to help? And when Mike put that into my mind, that I was now the promoter of the company, and my job is to be like Don King. That's who he gave me, the Don King. If you see Mike post a little emojis on my stories, it'll be, Don King punching a crown, because I'm supposed to be the promoter. Right. And that's why this whole podcast, and that's why this whole social media thing kind of developed into what it is, because that's my responsibility now, to promote the people within my company, to make them next level leaders and do what we do. And I'm like you. It's the most fulfilling thing ever when you see one of the people in your organization do something that they didn't think they could do, accomplish something that they thought was impossible. Right. And the confidence that it builds in people, that is actually the magic now. And that's what I work for more than, it's never been about a paycheck. Like I said, if this was about a paycheck, I tell the sales guys out there, stay where you're at. If you're just doing it for money, that's where the money is. All the stress is over on this side. But the truth is, I wouldn't want it any different. And once you develop yourself, you start to become that leader. It's infectious. And then people want to be a part of your culture. People want to follow you. So you start off, you've got a good little team going. You're building your reputation. You're not afraid to go in and do the actual work, which, believe it or not, that's always going to be the key. People do try to find shortcuts. There's all kinds of get rich quick and all kinds of programs that assure you you're going to do this. And trust me, I've got them all, but I know what they are. They're building blocks, but you have to actually do the work. And that's the only way you're ever going to get ahead. So you start building some momentum with your team. Brandon Jay's starting to really pick up. You're continuing to grow and develop, right? So now you're no longer doing the sales. You're building the sales team. You're putting your people in place. You're developing leaders to go out and actually make the opportunities for you. What kind of people are you looking for? Do you hire people within the industry? Do you look for people that have experience in sales, or do you just want to find someone that's cool that you can get along with, that makes you smile or makes you feel a certain way, and then you just teach them about roofing?
Yeah. So, man, I honestly try to stay away from people that got experience. And I'm not saying that I won't hire somebody that's got experience, but there's obviously a lot of concerns with that. What bad habits are you bringing? I would rather bring somebody in and mold them the way that we want them, because like I said, man, this is roofing, and a lot of guys do a lot of different things at different companies. We're not the company that's out getting hammered together, shit faced on Friday nights. We're not doing that stuff, man. We're really focused on winning, excuse me, and becoming the best version of ourselves. It's like when somebody comes and works for us, I don't just want their pocketbooks to get better. I want their whole life to get better, because it's not about the money. And I mean, obviously money is an important thing. It's a huge deal not to have, but it's not a big deal to have, is how I always put it. But we want healthy guys, and gals. So whenever we're looking for somebody, the person that I'm looking for, like my number one pick is going to be somebody 30-ish, that has been through some stuff, maybe been beat up a little bit, and has got to a point like where they're willing to do whatever it takes to not go back down that road. I believe to really be successful at this, it's easy, man. I've had so many guys that come in and out of my door that can go out and, sell 200, 300,000 in a month. And then they just fizzle out so quick, and then because it's about the endurance with this, I believe it truly is. And having that resilience, resilience is a huge thing when it comes to this industry. That's why, like the younger guys, there are some younger guys that there is the exception. There's always the exception that can get out here and just murder it and do that consistently. But a lot of them, they just don't have the resilience, to keep going. A guy, just let go of a guy a month ago. His first month out on his own, he sold like 150,000. Great. Came from Quick Trip. And he's like, I just really don't think this is for me, man. I don't need that much to survive on. I don't have a family to support, whatever it is. I'm like, at first I was like, man, just give it another week and think about that. And then when he came the second time, I was like, all right, man, take it easy. Have a good one. But, so I'm looking for somebody, one who is coachable. That is obviously key. And that has our core values, honesty, integrity, that's willing to go all in on themselves and really do a deep dive on themselves. Because like I said, whatever they got going on over here in life, that's gonna flood over into this, no doubt. And so we want to get down to that and find that needle in the haystack. And whenever we have like a vetting process, like because I start to bring somebody in to train. So I use a recruiting platform. Let me rewind this. I use a recruiting platform. And that recruiting platform, man, they'll keep, I don't know, 30, 40 people, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more, coming through our doors a week. Right. And I do group interviews on Tuesday and Thursday, and say out of 20 people, I might find one or two that are worth doing a one-on-one with. And then by the end of the week, say I got 5 to do one-on-ones with, I might find one or two out of that. And then okay, well, let's come in and start training next week. And then by the end of that week, I might have one left. Or maybe they both stay. Maybe they're both, there. But it's like, it's so hard to tell, because people can talk a good game, look all the part, do all these things. But it's hard to tell. I think it takes time to see all those that character really come out. That doesn't come out sometimes for 4 or 6 months.
Yeah, that's for sure. Someone's got to face some adversity to see who they really are. And I think it applies to success as well. I've hired people in that start off pretty well. I think I'm a victim of my own mindset of trying to get people instant gratification. It's been something that's killed me forever, because I'll go out and I'll sell a couple of jobs for my sales guys, and I think it devalues the entire process, quite honestly. So that's something I'm working on. Is you're going to have to feel some pain. You're not going to get the easy, hey, come hang out in our office and we'll tell jokes all day, and when leads come in, we'll give them to you and you just go out there and sign them. You have to work for it. And I think that the avatar that I'm looking for is kind of similar to you now, in that I've tried younger guys. I've tried, all kinds of different things, and everybody talks a good game. I had some guys that come in and tell me, I guarantee I'm going to give you 90 days of 100% commitment. And then you don't see them the next day, and then they're gone.
Right.
And I get it. I was 24, 25 years old at one point, and I don't know that I could have gotten out of bed and got myself motivated to do a commission-based job like I do now. But if you can do it, we've got kids in our organization. We have a 21-year-old kid in our organization that runs the ASAP roofing office in Palestine, Texas. He's 21.
Right.
And I call this guy. I stopped by and asked for advice from him, because it's like, man, I'm double your age, but like, you've got something figured out. And by the time you're my age, oh my gosh, I'm going to be coming to you for money.
Yeah.
So there are still some, and I think the culture is really huge about that. We do a lot of personal development. We bring in a lot of speakers.
Yeah.
We had John Paramore. We have Mike Code come in. We've gotten, through our platinum partners, I mean, goodness gracious, some of the kings of the industry. And I think that, that aspect of it is what we focus on. Because like you say, man, it's roofing. Leanne Koppel, she always likes to say roofing's not sexy. I mean, I like to think that we make it sexy, but that's just me. There's nothing cool about, guys up on the roof hammering, butt cracks hanging out and nailing shingles. So we have to make ourselves a little bit more, diverse, and we have to stand out in the crowd. And I think we do it by personal development, and also just by being willing to kind of put yourself out there and not always look like a, sometimes I make a fool of myself on camera just to get attention, and stuff like that's necessary to grow your brand. But, I love that. You've got a good, solid team. Your team comes in, they follow behind you, because obviously you're setting a great example. You grow your company to the point now where you have outgrown your initial surroundings. It's time to grow Brandon J. It's time to start putting more vehicles out there with wraps. It's time to start doing all that. Taking that next step is obviously pretty scary because it's something that you've not been through. And I get it. I mean, nobody knows what's going to happen. So you get to the point where it's like, all right, I'm 100% invested. I'm spending great money on mentors, on coaching. I'm doing everything right. I'm bringing in the right people. I want to step my game up even more now. So you're getting ready to move into a brand new facility, which you're sitting in now, right? And the time frame on that, I'm shocked to find out that your business is only just a few years old. You know, I would have definitely assumed you'd been around for a decade the way that you've established it. So that's a quick trip though. So what do you do to the next step? What are you looking for as far as office space? Are you trying to find something that you can work into now? Or are you looking for something you're going to grow into over the next 15 years? And ultimately, what's your game plan look like for the next 15 years with your business?
So yeah, so we moved into, I feel like our back end and our foundation is always ahead of our production. That's kind of how I tried to have it set up from the beginning. And man, obviously nobody gave me a roadmap. Like, this is how you run a company and this is how you build a company. So it's one of those things like fail often, fail forward, fail your way to success. So where we're at right now, I had an opportunity to buy a building. It was a couple weeks ago, and it was just not in a good spot. Where we're at right now is good frontage. I really like the spot because we're on a major highway. You know, everybody sees us right here. Got a lot of wrap trucks out there, but the next step is so right now I'm really focused on building up these leaders within here, getting this on a wheel, but then I want to open up another location. That's the next step, and I'm hoping to do that within the next year.
I love it, man. You're going to do it within the next year for sure. I can assure you of that because that's just who you are. You're very inspirational with the way that you just put it out there and then do it. I love that. I always find that if you proclaim it to the world and then you don't do it, you know, just the fear of looking like a dumbass kind of bothers me sometimes. So
Right.
I admire anybody that's willing to throw it out there and say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. This is where I'm headed. And, you know, seeing the investments that you've put into yourself, into your business, into your team, it's inevitable. You're going to be the top dog over there. You already are, like say, in your county. Now it's time to start scaring the crap out of some of these other people that have been complacent because now they've got a guy that's highly motivated. You're bringing your people along. I'm having to assume that your personal development culture just completely bleeds into all of the people in your team and that everybody buys in 100% to the, you know, hey, let's be better tonight than we were when we got here this morning mentality, right?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, and if somebody's not like, I don't have to, yes, I do have to fire people, but a lot of that, it just weeds itself out. Excuse me, because they realize like they don't belong. You know, like these guys are on some other shit. You know, they're really focused on this is really what they're doing. They're not just talking about this, and they realize really quickly they don't belong. Because, excuse me, you know, it's like we expect a lot out of our guys. I like to think like, you know, our guys, you know, some roofing companies are cool with their guys selling 4 or 5 roofs a month. Like, you're going to get the boot here for that. You know, we want all of our guys selling, you know, closing like 8's okay month, 10's decent. You know, our top guy last month, he 15 he closed on. So we just set the bar high, and because we expect it. I want the people that are going to take full advantage of the opportunity, you know. And it's like, if I tell people that all the time, like, if you're not willing to go all in, let's just not waste each other's time here.
It's huge to set that upfront expectation because I'll be honest, something that we've really wrestled with in my company is the way that we have been hiring people. And I come to find out we've done it completely wrong the entire time. I'm a salesman, man. If you want to ask about Rio Blanco roofing, Brandon, I'll tell you everything you want to know about how awesome it is, how great everything is here. I love it. I love my logo. I got everything going on. But I don't ask you anything about yourself. And then the point of the matter is, for us, we've been having issues where we sell the hell out of this job, and then people show up and it's like, oh wait, we're supposed to work. You didn't tell
Right.
us that it was going to be hard work. You told us we were going to make good money, and you told us that it was going to be fun. And I've just gotten to the point where it's like, you know what, I actually gutted my office a couple weeks ago, and I'm rebuilding the entire staff because we just got that complacency about us. And it sucks because I'm the guy at the top, and if I let that happen, then it's on me. So I accept that responsibility and I want to change it. But it is tough. You have to be willing to make these moves.
Right.
With Mike, he always tells us, and if anybody that's no longer with my company is watching this, I apologize because it's not directly related to anybody, but Mike always says, lose the losers, hire fast, fire faster.
That's right.
And some people will get in there and they just love the camaraderie. They love the culture, and you're not doing anybody any favors if you allow that to happen. I mean, obviously it's cool to come hang out with your friends and have a good time, but if you're not making any money, you're not supporting your family, it's not worth it. So I
I
love
wanted
that. Yeah.
I did want to just touch on that like really quick. So one thing I used to have an issue with, and was kind of like savior behavior. You know, I really wanted to see people for what they could be. It's like if you only do these things, then you'll be great. I know you're going to do it. You got it. And I would just want to see them for what they could be, and not see them for what they are. Right. And so, but whenever I started, like, and don't get me wrong, I will help somebody develop. I'll put as much in as they will. If they're going, I'm going to go as hard as I can with them, and help them grow and help them develop. But that was one thing I had to be cautious of myself, was wanting it more than they did, and because it is a lot of work. I tell everybody when they step in, this isn't a 9 to 5, man. This is a lifestyle, and none of our guys are lead reliant. Yes, we pump a couple leads out. Everybody gets a couple good leads a week, but we teach our guys how to generate their own leads. We knock a lot of doors is one of our biggest things, and how to really get into a neighborhood, dominate the neighborhood, and do all that. But yeah, we are definitely about working, and all of our guys are W-2, and they're W-2 and 100% commission. A lot of people assume, well, they're W-2, you got your guys on a salary. Absolutely not. We give them a draw starting off, but the point with that is that whenever I started seeing people for what they are, like through their actions, actions first, words second, it saved me a lot of time, because if I want it, then I can get this person to go this way for a month, but it's going to end up bad, right? Because I'm really enforcing my will on them. They're not really about that action, and it would always end up bad for me. So I have to be cautious of still today, and is letting this person show me repetitively through action, and not trying to like just want it more than they do. And then they start feeling that too, and like they have some type of power over it.
Yeah, man, you just hit the nail on the head, and I'm glad that you said that about the W-2, because that's something we're looking at as well, just completely changing everything up. Because I agree, it is hard to find people that are actually motivated. You start to realize that when you start expecting yourself out of others, you're going to get disappointed pretty much every time. And I love that term, savior behavior, because I think I'm just as guilty as anybody. I'm kind of proud of the fact, because it means we're good people and we do want to help, and we do see potential in others that maybe they don't see in themselves. But I'm not going to lie. I've wasted a lot of my time trying to save people, trying to help people that ended up leaving or ended up just not wanting it. So that's something I'm focusing on. And I appreciate the fact that that's something you guys do, because it tells me I'm going in the right direction, because I see where you're going and you're succeeding with it. And just having that mindset, we're not going to find a bunch of Chucks and a bunch of Brandons out there. I guess, thank God, because if there were a bunch of us, then we wouldn't stand out in the crowd like we do.
That's
So
right.
it's kind
That's
of
right.
cool to be a little different and have that mindset. But also, there are a ton of people out there that do. And Mike Code said something yesterday. One of his quotes was that there are plenty of good people out there looking to work for good companies, but they just can't find them. So it's up to us to go find those people to recruit and say, hey, look, this is the opportunity. This is what it is. But I'm going to be real with you. You're going to have to work. You're going to have to earn it. A lot of people are just looking for the easy way out. And then they bitch about it when they don't make hundreds of thousands of dollars 2 weeks into their roofing sales career. And, blame it on everything but themselves. Quite honestly, I'll say that. And that's just the way I feel. You're responsible for your own actions. I mean, when I started in roofing sales, I literally moved to Texas. I didn't know a human being in the state of Texas. And I started as a commission sales rep for a roofing company that was fairly new at that point, was just starting to get their name out there. That's hard, But at the end of the day, I never accepted anything less. I almost lost my ass when I went to Amarillo one time, but I never asked for a draw. I never did any of that because I believed, okay, if I can suffer and still survive, then when I get to the other side, it's going to be so much sweeter. So I think the hard work is awesome. I've always been one to invest my own time, money, and energy into this stuff. I was with Mike the other day, and he put up a slide on the slideshow that said Chuck Allen is the only guy that ever paid for his training programs by himself while I was still a salesman. And that means a lot to me because it means that I've put in the effort. People recognize it, and they see that it's hard work. But then you're going to get those guys that are going to come and say, all right, well, Brandon, man, you already did all that stuff, so I don't need to do all that work. Let me just ride along with you and ride your coattails, and you'll make me rich and famous and do all that. And it's just not how it works. So that's a huge transition for us. We're doing the 80-20 rule quite a bit here lately. And
I hate it.
It is what it is, part of life. But yeah, we're coming up now. This has been a pretty quick hour. I know an hour is 60 minutes in any language, but we're at 56 and a half minutes. I told you we'd try to cut it to about an hour because I think we could probably go a little bit more, but I definitely respect your time. Closing comments for you, Brandon, anything you'd like to, just to get out there while you're here on Keeping It Rio. I definitely appreciate you being a guest on our podcast. This is what I love about it. I get to talk to a lot of cool people all over the world and hear their stories and see the success. And it means a lot to me that you even wanted to be a part of it. So thank you for that. I appreciate you as a friend and as someone that I've recently just kind of come to know over the last couple months, but it's been awesome. And, once you got Chuck, you're stuck with me. So me and you are going to be buddies forever. And I appreciate that. Anything you'd like to say before we end? Anything, if you've got anybody that's looking to maybe get to work with one of the most badass companies in the St. Louis area, how are they going to get a hold of you? Who should they follow? And why should your clients pick Brandon J. Roofing? That'll be our final thing, your elevator pitch.
Yeah. So I'm going to lead up to that in just a second. What I want to say is anybody that's in any industry, definitely getting into this industry, it doesn't matter, yes, if you're going to find a great company to work with, but focus on becoming that best version of yourself. Because if you don't have your own house in order, and if we're not willing to put in the work, we're going to fail at this, or we're going to be mediocre at best. Just going every day, like, what is the most I can do? What is the absolute most I can do today? And do that. There's no shortcuts, man. Half measures avail us nothing. And why if you're needing a roof replacement, why you should pick us in our area, because we are a better version of this industry. We have great warranties. We deliver a great product. We have a great team, and we're going to make sure you have a great experience, and we stand behind our work. Obviously, we got hundreds of 5-star reviews on several different platforms. If you are in the St. Louis area or looking to get to the St. Louis area and looking for employment, man, hit me up. And if you are willing to do the work, if you are willing, man, hit me up. I would love to get together with you, help you grow, and watch you prosper. So, Chuck, I appreciate you having me on here, man. I look forward to doing it with you again.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to check back up here sometime in the near future, and we're going to discuss how much we've grown just since this. So, Brandon, thank you for your time. I appreciate you. I know you're a busy man. It's been an awesome hour chatting, and I look forward to many more down the road. As I always say, if there's ever anything I can do for you, you know how to get a hold of me. You're a true friend in the industry, and you're an inspiration. So keep up the good work, my man, and I will talk to you again real soon. Brandon James, thank you.
Sounds good.
All right, buddy. Thank you guys for watching Keeping It Rio. This has been a fun episode. I'll release this here in a couple of days and we'll cut it up and have some pretty cool audio clips. So definitely looking forward to that. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you all